Hi, everyone. This is Matthew Regan, CEO of Regan Real Estate and the head coach of the Regan team. And I'm excited because we've got our senior sales partner here, Nancy Cormack, who's been doing this for like 17 years, 16 years. She kind of knows a thing or two about the difference of a successful sale, the success lying in selling a house for the top dollar and in the least amount of time. And we're going to try to talk about some topics that you as a seller probably haven't given an ounce of thought to, and that's okay. That's why we're here to have this discussion. So we've come up with four things, four questions I've got for Nancy that Nancy's going to kind of walk us through these key differences that lead to a successful sale or not. And Nancy, kind of my first question, I suppose, is when someone's selecting a realtor, we all know an agent, like whether it's a family member or a friend, but what is the importance of a local agent and that agent's experience and local market neighborhood knowledge? Like, how important is that and why?
So most agents know a house. Knowing a house is easy. Knowing the neighborhood's the trick, right? So you need to know the local walking paths. You need to know how, the breakdown of the education system. You need to know who lives in the neighborhood. You need to know who used to live in the neighborhood, all those things. So I work in a community where I grew up. So I've seen the evolution of the entire community. Plus, my kids grew up here as well now. So I know the area. When someone asks me about the school, I can tell you why children go there, alternatives, private school. It's very important because that, the house is the heart of the neighborhood. You're not just living in the home, you're living out of the doors as well, right?
So it really sounds to me like we often overlook the fact that we're not just selling a house, we're actually selling a neighborhood. And the importance of having an agent that's local can speak volumes to price and, of course, days on market. That's good. One of the other things that we had talked about is the agent to agent relationship, the relationship you have with your peers in the local realtor community. Can you just speak to what that looks like and why it's important to a seller, how it ultimately benefits them?
So it's very important to consider, does your agent, play nice in the sandbox with the other kids, right? So, about 30% of the time I am selling my own listings, but the rest of the time I am encouraging, talking to other agents, helping them bring an offer that is going to be, the successful bid. We want to get your house sold and get you moving forward. So having those conversations with them, easy conversations, great to talk to them, have a working relationship that's really good, trusted relationship. That is so important. They know when they call me, if they're talking about their client, we know each other. We've worked together before. So, and even if it's someone I haven't worked with, I know how to build that relationship, not only with my new client, but the client's buyer, the client's buyer's agent. I think it's overlooked.
Yeah, I agree. Overlooked is an understatement.
Yeah.
I'm hearing the playing well in the sandbox, playing
Yeah.
nice is important. I mean, after all, the buyer's agent has a vested interest to try and sell the house. Sounds like you take a very proactive stance in working with that agent to achieve a common goal. But I have a question because we see a lot more out of market, out of town agents that don't really know the community very well, let alone the street that the seller's house might be on. Are there any different steps you might take with working with an out-of-town agent?
So out-of-town agents can be very guarded because they don't want to look like they don't know the neighborhood. So knowing this, you have to really, you have to work with them. You know, questions like, do you mind if I ask? Or do you mind if I tell you? Or I have something to share? Because they need to feel comfortable and confident, and then they will rely on you for your expertise. So I deal frequently, I mean, my market, you know, where I sell draws a lot on Toronto. So they come in, these agents come in, they know, but they don't know. So once again, they know a house, but they don't know why it's there. What's the difference between this street and that street? I am confident in telling them what I know and how I can help their clients. You know, when I ask them, tell me a bit about your clients. Do they have school-age children? You know, what are they doing here? Where are they planning on going? So that is incredibly helpful.
So it really, like, I hear this common theme. It really sounds like you take a very proactive and collaborative approach, where many times agents take a combative approach, which generally doesn't seem to yield the best result for the seller. And that's who we're, and of course the buyer. We want to see there's a common goal here, which kind of leads into my next question slash beef with the industry and some of these big teams out there. And the idea, like, I've heard countless times, Nancy, from other sellers that worked with an agent before working with us, I could never get a hold of my agent. They took a day to get back to my email, or they don't return phone calls. Like, when it comes to working with other agents, let alone potential buyers and of course the client, what is accessibility like with you, and what does that mean to you?
Well, as you grow as a successful agent, you're getting more listings. You're working with more people, so your time is used differently. And I was finding the struggle as well, because I really do enjoy the relationship with my clients. So I've made a point. You know, I've set up a WhatsApp communication with each of my clients, and this is what it provides. Constant communication between myself and any other team member that they need to speak with, whether it's, you know, the phone person, you know, whoever needs to be in on that communication, even their kids, if they're coming and going from the house. Because the reason is, if they have a quick question, like, oh, when was that showing today? Immediately, someone from the team is getting back to them immediately. So it's really on the go. It's like having a text with your spouse. You just, hey, pick up milk, and okay, fine. I mean, it isn't a formal pick up the phone situation. It's just for quick communication, which I have found invaluable, because a lot of times there's miscommunication there, or someone's forgotten to do something, or and it seems to me we're just sort of filling the cracks here, right? So nothing can fall between those cracks. And I'm always looking for that. And I can communicate with so many more people in real time that way. It's very important.
And that's so well said there on the real time. That, and I love the idea of bringing the kids into a WhatsApp chat, so that they've cleaned their room before that showing happens. That's brilliant.
Yeah, or yeah, can you get the dog out of the house? You know, there's a showing, and things like that. And then you know, the whole village is there going, get the dog, you know, so it's great.
And just kind of on a final point, which I think, you know, any good realtor will kind of nod their head in agreement, but it's another thing to kind of deliver on this. And as a seller, I'd be sitting there going, well, doesn't everybody do this? But what is your view in the importance of leading to a successful sale with like really a client-centric experience, a customer-centric or customer-focused experience? What does that look like to you? And how do you go about doing that? And why do you do that?
Well, okay. So you get the initial phone call. Hi, we want to list our house. Great. I'll be right over. And you get things moving along, but you really have to tear back the layers a little bit, right? Why are you selling your house? What's your expectation from selling this house? How many moving parts are in selling this house? You really need to know the who, what, when, where, and why, because how can you fulfill their needs unless you know what their needs are? And you can't just imagine what it is, because there's always something springing up. It could be a relative. It could be, you know, that they need to be closer to. There's so many things, and you have to keep that at the forefront because it's at their forefront. I need to be able to service their needs, so I have to put those points in place as well.
Well,
What is your goal?
that's awesome. It sounds like perspective is a good thing. Can often be a difficult thing depending on why people are selling. People sell for all sorts of reasons. There's many emotional factors, but it really sounds like the more we know, the more we're able to tailor, or you're tailoring the experience there to really help them through the selling process.
And
Well, look, Nancy, these are the nuggets. These are the ones that I wish we could go to the mountaintops and scream to homeowners that, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. And I think you've done a great job in bringing to light some of the things that if you are thinking of selling your home, that you should be asking your realtor. And if you don't have one, or if you'd like a second opinion, Nancy Cormack can be found on our website. Her email's there, her phone number's there. And why don't you test how accessible she is? She's pretty quick at getting back to people. Thanks, Nancy. Appreciate this.
Okay. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Bye, guys.
Bye.